Hello, I'm Bill Jameson, and it has indeed been an honor to have been chosen as the juror and judge of the 37th South Carolina Watermedia Society annual exhibit. A few things about myself. I was born in Honeypaw, South Carolina, not far from Anderson, and grew up in Anderson though, and graduated from Anderson Boys High School in the last year that it was a boys' high. Later I went to Ringling School of Art, and then after a couple of years in the U.S. Army, went to the Instituto Allende in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico for a year graduate school. I am primarily an oil painter, but over the years I've done quite a bit of work in water media. And now I live in Saluda, North Carolina, where I primarily paint the western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina landscape. So now we'll talk a bit about each one of these pieces that I've chosen. When I reviewed the submitted material digitally, I realized that there'd be an opportunity to have an exhibit with a wide range of work, ranging from abstraction to realism, small to large, loose to highly rendered, and in so doing we could achieve an exhibit with balance. A sense of balance is what I feel should be at the heart of all artistic endeavors, be it film, dance, poetry, prose, music, sculpture, or painting. In painting, that balance must include composition, draftsmanship, value structure, color harmony, and also texture. One can stop painting on a work after 5 minutes, or it can take hours, days, or even years to achieve that balance. But there is another very special factor. That is the aesthetic quality inherent in the style and personal vision of the artist, drawing on the gifts that each artist has been given, which make it a work of art. In choosing the work for the traveling exhibit, I have attempted to achieve this sense of balance for the exhibit, selecting work in which a high degree of excellence in execution of the various water media is evident. My selection for Best of Show is Vicki Bailey Eber's watercolor titled Bill's Bucket, and it is, in my opinion, close to perfect. It has strong drawing, composition, texture, and beautiful use of analogous color. It is a great example of how simple, ordinary subject matter can be turned into a beautiful work of art. Yao Zing Hu's watercolor titled Little Miss Evelyn is also extraordinary, and it's my second place choice. Again, the analogous palette maintains simplicity. The placement of the head and angles of the shoulder and the costume also keep the composition simple and dynamic. The loose handling of the medium gives life and delicacy to the child. I love this acrylic and ink on canvas by K. Wayne Thornley, titled Figure 536, and it was my choice for third place. It has strength, mystery, and extremely interesting texture produced by the use of both acrylic paint and ink. Doc Bua, a transparent watercolor by Carolyn Epperly, by its complexity has a quality which I think should be in every work of art, and that is mystery. Her handling of the watercolor in such complicated patterns showing reflections is masterful. Neptune Beach Carnival Series, an acrylic and collage on canvas, is made strong and fun by a lively use of color combined with excellent craftsmanship. Lori Solomosi's use of line with paint give it a strong graphic quality. Constance McKeon's watercolor on Yupo, titled Negotiations, is intriguing. Juxtaposition of demonstrative figures through the foreground, middle ground, and background makes one wonder what was going on. Again, the quality of mystery gives this painting its strength. Maura Kinney's mixed media homage to Joan of Arc is certainly that, an homage to Joan of Arc. It shows superb handling of transparent watercolor with a controlled use of both tight and wet handling of the paint. It is an intriguing composition with the addition of stitching, beads, a bamboo rod. Here are the beads. Lily in Tamales Bay, a watercolor on paper by Marianne Brock, is a wonderful example of photorealistic watercolor. There is mystery with the decision to have the subject's face turned away, and it is beautifully composed and crafted. Randy Armstrong's small acrylic on board, titled Sparkling Stream, is dynamic, bold, and through his energetic brushwork and impasto application of paint, gives it remarkable texture. My first impression of this painting digitally was that it was a much larger work. Rebecca Lawson Caruth's watercolor, Kiss of the Moon, is just 4 inches by 4 inches and is a superb example of less is best. Miss Sarah, a watercolor in Casein by Anne Hightower Patterson, has the 5 qualities I look for in a painting: composition, draftsmanship, color harmony, value scale, and texture. All of these come together through excellent handling of the medium. Carrie Burns Brown's abstract composition, And the Beat Goes On, is exciting and energetic. The contrast of lights and darks with strong color gives it the push and pull and rhythms that the title implies. Crabbing on Capers Creek, a transparent watercolor by Sherry Strickland Martin, is an excellent example of the medium showing details and texture in a strong composition. Another strong example of the use of watercolor to produce complex textures, making an otherwise uninteresting subject into an exciting painting. This painting by Becky Hollingsworth is titled Middleton Kettles. Alexis Levine's transparent watercolor, titled Rooftop Congregation, put me in mind of one of my early heroes, Edward Hopper. It is a daring composition, well executed. Lofty Vista, an acrylic on canvas by Heather No, shows the potential of acrylic paint to produce powerful textures, and her range of color from subtle hues to strong chromatic reds gives this painting a dramatic impact. Prairie Power by Steve Garner, an acrylic on canvas, reminds me of Charles DeMuth's Chimneys and Towers series, and is an excellent example of superb handling of paint articulating a lonely industrial site. Melinda Kilcoyne Smith's acrylic landscape, Rhapsody in Purple, with a complementary and harmonious color scheme with loose handling of the paint, evokes what I feel is the artist's personal vision. Abstract Floral, a watercolor and collage by Rose Metz, uses negative space to produce a strong composition and great use of warm and cool color. There is an inherent mystery in Rosie Coleman's watercolor, The Pearl Earring. Her sensitivity to the medium produces delicate textures. Making a Connection To, an acrylic on paper by Denise Athanas, is a very good example of the diversity in texture achievable in acrylic paint. Lee Mont's watercolor, titled Broken Fence, through the painter's use of wet and wet watercolor technique, has produced a small but very powerful image. Through its simplicity, there's an aesthetic quality difficult to describe. It is a perfect example of knowing when to stop. This painting, Time Series 162, On an Upward Swing, an acrylic painting by Barbara St. Denis, shows excellent handling of the acrylic medium combined with the mechanical use of steel rods, taking this painting beyond whimsy. John Anderson's watercolor, I Think I Am Losing My Marbles, exhibits excellent craftsmanship in transparent watercolor through his articulation, of the textures of wood, lace, glass, marbles, and crystal. Jane Doyle's acrylic on canvas, Racing Time, is an energetic and exciting painting shown through the exploration and potential of acrylic paint. Out to dry. What can I say? I love onions. They have a texture that is best defined by watercolor, and Brenda Lawson has done just that. The value structure combined with rich color give this painting a timeless quality. See Me Mommy. Dixie Liebert's watercolor using a wet and wet technique to produce energy and motion is very successful. Lynn Schilling's superb transparent watercolor has given her painting Mary Sunshine the enigmatic quality of Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. Thinking of Home by Sandra Roper has strong composition and value structure. Her use of both loose and tight watercolor technique, producing strong texture, makes this painting work. This little watercolor by Lynn Greer, titled One Arrow, is intriguing and full of mystery. The simple complementary color scheme gives it a strong presence. It's been fun coming back home, and I invite all of you to come and see this exhibit at the Anderson Art Center.
This has been a presentation of the 2014 South Carolina Watermedia Society, hosted by the Anderson Art Center and promoted by the Honeypath Art Center and the Belton Center for the Arts, making this a community-wide effort for this wonderful show.